How you doing? Isaac here, and I've got my friend Trey.
Hi.
Time to play some good Ghostbusters!
I don't know, I played the Lego Dimensions for Ghostbusters, and that was okay. They cut out all the swearing, though. That's probably one of the... A Lego Ghostbusters would probably be one of the few cases where this man has no dick is not an insult.
As long as it's not 2016 Ghostbusters. Oh, God. Well, hello, library.
Big crowd. Thinkman would love this.
Captain McMahon from the 12th says there was a massive disturbance. Real fireworks show.
Not much going on now. Maybe. But didn't there used to be 2 lines out here?
Check for valences.
I remember seeing the ads for this in Game Informer years ago.
Look at this.
Did you already go to the motel?
Cadet, you need to see this.
Stand back! Look out! There they go!
Whoa! Double full torso animators! Come on! After them!
You heard Stance. Let's move.
It wouldn't even let me scan.
You'll probably run into them later. I like the designs of a lot of the ghosts in here. It reminds me of the cartoon.
There they are.
Like a scarier version of the cartoon.
I've never seen them in tandem like that. They're really agitated.
Switching on the pen. Hey, he said take it easy. That's not easy.
Ow, ow.
Miss! Damn!
Sorry, C.
How about a little warning next time, fellas? That one's a beast, Ray. Let's chase him down. Winston, check that next doorway. See if he has any friends. Leave a haunted room. I've got no problem with that.
Hey, Cadet. You use the shock blaster, it's best to get in fairly close. Its effects are powerful, but dissipate quickly over distance.
And please be careful. It's a prototype. We're trusting you with it.
The stasis stream will temporarily slow down paranormal energy. If you train
Translation.
the target long enough,
It's a ghost-busting shotgun.
Proton shotgun. Hey, that almost rhymes.
stasis. This has nothing to do with cold, but the effect is similar.
You know the crazy thing? He's actually mentioned in the comic books from what I've heard.
Who?
The guy we're playing as?
Leaves me a lot of time to work.
So I guess you could say that the IDW comics, which I recommend everybody check out because they're pretty good, are, I think, canon to this, and which is allegedly canon to the original movies.
Yep.
I actually know some Ghostbuster stuff, but I'm trying to.
Boss, you think you can
I'm
handle that
trying
by
not to.
yourself? We'll meet you back here.
I'm trying not to ruin your concentration.
That's fine.
Because I know that this was basically supposed to be Ghostbusters 3. And like one of the original ideas was too expensive. But it was going to be, they somehow ended up in a mirrored, hellish version of New York City. And they were going to run into, and this was in the early 90s, mind you. They were going to run into a Donald Trump type Satan named Mr. Lou Cipher. I think the biggest Lou Cipher.
Well, we just got smashed and slimed.
I don't get why the slime is green, but the ghost wasn't. I guess it was just easier for the texture people.
Keep your game meter up. The animator's been hiding any. Hey, Ugly just shot around that corner.
I think what's even crazier is there's like a kidified version of this for the PlayStation 2.
Actually, the kidified version would be for the Nintendo Wii.
Look, it's the cadet!
It was also PS2. I have a copy of
Strong
it.
emanations. No direct source, though.
We followed our guy in here. Gave us the slip.
I actually played this years ago.
Very strong anomaly here.
It's a fun game, but
Something big.
Now that is a fine example of a level 6 bidimensional attraction.
I was about to say it's a book golem.
Had to come up on the balcony.
When reading becomes deadly.
When I went to college, they said the textbooks would murder me, but I didn't think like this.
Power is emanating from a single focal object.
You got it. Fantastic. Man, how much PK energy must it take to collect an animated entity like that?
Isn't there actually a tracker for
Lot of
how much
very
money
angry energy.
you lose when you zap the wrong things? I think I remember there was one.
Actually, I don't think it's lose. You get paid the more you destroy.
Oh. I was trying to be careful when I was playing this.
No, you must be Gozer-like. Destroy all.
Yes, it is her. Eleanor Twitty, the librarian.
Look, there she is. It is at the stairway door.
Actually, I think it's kind of funny that was the very first ghost they saw. It scared them away,
She went down that way.
and they didn't actually come back to do something about it until now.
Yeah.
Which would be at least like 5 years later.
Plus, like, this was the very first actual ghost they were called on. They knew she was here, but then never actually came back to check on it.
And it's not even like Gozer was their second thing. There's a whole montage in the first movie
Levitation.
of them going everywhere, busting ghosts all over the place.
Yeah.
You got something?
Which meant that it was a conscious choice to not go back.
Yep.
I've got something right here.
Kid, check that out. Ooh, she keeps shushing us.
I will say one thing about the IDW comics. The artists are really big fans of pretty much everything, not just the movies, but the 2 cartoons. Which gets really weird when I think it's Janine
Uh-huh.
has a
That's her, the gray lady.
ends
She's
up
the
ends up
first
getting a
ghost we ever
boyfriend
met.
whose design is based off of how the cartoon Egon looked in Extreme Ghostbusters.
Ah!
Needle Stitch.
So with the blonde hair and a ponytail. It's just bizarre to see.
These readings are off the charts.
Well, I mean,
Charts.
they were always kind of like portrayed as a sort of a couple, but not.
Listen, this place is
I think it was actually Harold Ramis who shot down the idea.
Everybody stick close together.
Yeah.
This way.
Rest in
quick.
peace.
What was that? Okay, so much for sticking.
Well, ow.
Just fan out.
Flexible approach, Ray.
There are 2 hostile spirits roaming around in here.
Two that we know
I'm
of.
glad an actual company made this and not Telltale, otherwise we'd just be making decisions for 3 hours. I've heard myth that some of them actually have gameplay, but I've never seen it.
I've seen a bit of it.
Oh no, kid, look out! It's coming your way!
It disappeared.
Temperature's dropping. Event imminent. Brace yourselves.
Guys, I'm at the periodical archives looking at a stack of old newspapers all about some nut named Edmund Cooper, a.k.a. the Collector. What? This dude has a history you should know. He was a werewolf
Whoa.
who seduced Eleanor Twitty, the head librarian of the Gray Lady. That would be my guess.
You mean the chick that keeps throwing bookcases in my face?
Whoa. I think you... Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Have you read the descriptions for some of the ghosts that actually have identities?
Yeah.
Like the fat guy is like, oh, he ordered a whole Thanksgiving feast. He was the only one who showed up. So he ate everything, and after he ate everything, he died.
From overeating, yeah.
It's like he did it because he wanted to indulge in his greatest fantasy. Eating a meal fit for 100.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of dark.
Well, I mean, Ghostbusters kind of was dark, honestly.
That's kind of like the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon. There was a whole episode where a legal stand-in for R.L. Stine wrote a book series that was a legal stand-in for Hellraiser, only to discover that people were so scared of the legal stand-in for the Cenobites that they became real and forced him to write stories where they tortured people.
Yeah.
It's on Hulu, people. Look it up.
Yeah, it's, Well, then...
Hey, you get to hear Jim Cummings singing a grunge rock cover of the Ghostbusters theme. Sorry, I just realized when I said that out loud how silly that sounded.
I think silly is kind of the name of the game. We're supposed to sound silly.
Oh.
Because, you know, entertainment value.
Entertainment value.
Okay, guys, it's dead up here. The good kind of me. You all cool? We may need to get back from that.
Okay.
Hey kid, what's your plan? I'm in some kind of a
entertaining,
dark tunnel
entertaining.
moving fast towards a bright light.
The Zool dogs used to scare the heck out of me.
Pesky but combustible.
The giant dogs from the first movie.
Yep.
They don't now because since I do animation and video editing, I notice things.
Look how goofy they are.
You got it!
Well, when it's a puppet, it's cut in half and has no legs, so it can't really chase you. And when it's stop motion, I know it only looks big, but in real life, it's probably about the size of our microphone.
Where's that classified?
It's probably rotted by now.
There's the big fish. See what he did? Give him a new home in our containment facility.
It's kind of like they actually saw a video from the Rick Baker special effects shop. They were actually auctioning some of the Gremlins they had made for Gremlins 2. Oh my god, that was so sad to look at. Yeah, because those puppets were made back in the 90s. And they just sat in this warehouse for a decade.
And they look really, really bad.
It wasn't paint chipping, but it looked like the foam was starting to dry out. It's kind of like my dad actually had one of those collectible busts of the Talosians from Star Trek.
Uh-huh.
He left it in... And what happened is, over time, the latex dried. It's kind of like that. It eventually was no good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it happens. They weren't meant... They don't build them to last. They build them for...
Collector's value. But
Not even collector's value, like actual props. They build them to do the job for the site, and then after it's done, they usually...
It was still sad to see because... It was still a sad sight to see because I really liked Gremlins 2. So it was kind of sad to see that.
To see them in such a state.
Yeah. Rick Baker also did the alien effects for the Men in Black movies, produced by Columbia Pictures.
Which is conveniently the same company that produced Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we never got Ghostbusters meets Men in Black. I would rather see that, because that actually sounds like it could be awesome, than that Men in Black meets 21 Jump Street thing they were trying to make.
Well, what now?
MIB 23. It was literally, for some reason, they were going to do a crossover with the Men in Black films and the new 21 Jump Street movies with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill.
Channing Tatum, or you mean Channing Tatum?
Channing, Stockard Channing. Okay, anyway, I think I figured out why. Because at the very end of the movie, they could be like, wow, agents, it was really cool. We're going to remember this for the rest of our lives. Yeah, sure, pulls out a neuralizer. How about we take a picture to commemorate? Whoosh! I think the whole reason they did it was so that way they wouldn't have to bring it up again because they'd have their memories erased at the end of the movie. That's lazy storytelling. At least Ghostbusters would make sense, because you could have maybe that aliens use that there's a race of aliens who use psychokinetic energy as a power source.
Yeah.
And that they've started like rival ghostbusting businesses with retrofitted stolen MIB tech.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's too old now, but the poster would have been awesome. Because you could do one poster where it's all the Ghostbusters, but they're dressed like the Men in Black, and then another poster where it's J and K, but they're dressed like Ghostbusters. Get Hollywood, take us. We have ideas.
Well,
we're better. Hey, we do better than Tom Rothman.
I mean, there's a problem with that. I can somehow imagine Hollywood doing exactly that, because if you haven't noticed, they've been having trouble coming up with ideas with all the reboots lately. Like,
some of them you don't even have to do reboots. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time is a remake, The Blob from 1988. They set that up with a time skip into the future. You could do a sequel. You could even do a soft reboot that opens referencing the sequel to that movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on a streaming site somewhere. It's good.
But I'm more concerned of why is it taking so long to get these books?
Oops, sorry. I was talking to the audience.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm saying here going, why is the...
Oh, you were talking about adapting books into movies.
Well, no, I'm talking about the books in the game that are supposed to be attacking us, but only seem to show up like every so often.
You don't think it's a glitch, do you?
I hope not.
Has this glitched on you before? We got. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you talking about movies.
No, that's fine.
Oh. I might see Hellfest. I keep getting ads for that on YouTube.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ads going around, man.
I remember one for a stop-motion movie that ended up being terrible called Hell and Back. Mm-hmm. I got ads for it on YouTube. It said it was playing. Then I found out it was like a limited theater run. So I was like, okay, why did you even put ads up if it wasn't going to be in theaters that long? If you were going to go direct to DVD, you should have just waited for that and then released your trailer. Or the one that always bugs me. There's a horror film, I think it's made in Europe, called American Burger. The plot is kids go to a summer camp that's also for a company called American Burger. I think it's supposed to be, one of the first jokes is that it's run by two guys with very heavy Slavic accents. American Burger. And it catches, they're killing the kids and making them into burgers. I saw the trailer, I kept waiting for that to come out on DVD, and it never did here. Of course now I know I have VLC media player. Anybody at home, if you have VLC, you can actually watch PAL DVDs with it. Or maybe certain types of PAL. It's a lot cheaper than getting a region-free player. Maybe they charge for that. It's almost like they don't want you to have them.
They probably don't. Hollywood doesn't really want much in the way of actual competition in the...
That's not friendly.
It's like, no, don't buy this movie from another country. If it's really good, we'll remake it here.
And make it worse, just like they did with the Ring series.
Ring, Dark Water, One Missed Call.
Grudge.
You know what's messed up? There's actually a Grudge versus Ring movie in Japan that should have been the plot to Ring 3. Wasn't there also, there's a movie called The Bye Bye Man?
Yeah.
And that it was based on a book that had this long title, so they just shortened it to Bye Bye Man?
Yeah, this whole room just looks like I've thoroughly trashed it.
You know, you'd think the embers would have gone out by now. It kind of makes me. It kind of makes me think of like Gary's mod textures. When you have like the texture gun, you just go on going. Tss, 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 tss.
Yeah.
Hey, I think the door's open.
Nope.
Tricked again.
Hey, watch it!
Oh, actually, one of the things that allegedly, back when IMDb still had the message boards, was that allegedly, according to like one of the leaks from the Sony hack, one of the reasons that Sony was pushing their Ghostbusters reboot out the door was because of that Ocean's 8 remake that came out this year. They were trying to get that out before it so they could try to say they had the first all-women reboot.
Uh-huh.
It's one of those things. It could have worked, but
Well,
the director, you can tell the director didn't want to do it.
it could have worked, but they picked the worst comedians to do it. They also picked, like, whoever wrote the thing must have had to have been high or something, because...
The director co-wrote it. And what's messed up is his original pitch sounded interesting. But it seems like I said, allegedly he had to be coerced into doing it. So I think what he did is, he probably just went, okay, I'll do this, but I just kind of want to get this done, so we'll just let everybody ad-lib. And it's like even the...
Son of a... I think it actually did...
Oh no. I'm a jinx.
No, you're not.
I've actually got the Lego Slimer.
Yeah, we have a Slimer mystery thing up above our desk here.
Yeah, which I always find it weird, it's the one based on the movie, but whenever they try to make models of it, they try to give it more the personality from the cartoon.
Mm-hmm. So, we're definitely gonna have to I'm definitely gonna have to edit that out!
Oh, man.
Ooh, class 1 swarmers! Pesky but combustible.
So, I'm gonna have to definitely... Really?
Okay, we're back.
Son of a...
Just got killed by books.
Yeah.
Let me know if you do. Do you want me to bring up that MIB-23 thing just in case you do edit this?
Okay, guys, it's dead up here. The good time. We may need to get back.
It's up to you, because I'm definitely gonna have to edit that, because that was literally us wandering around doing absolutely nothing or fuck all for, like 30 minutes.
Ooh, class 1 swarmers! Pesky but combustible.
Blue. The books have blue energy.
Yeah.
Blue Book. I think that's a company.
Yeah.
one of the weirdest things I found on YouTube? This was actually released by MGM.
Class 5 enemy. Track the slug.
Vincent Price in one room reading Edgar Allan Poe poetry for an hour and a half.
Containment facility.
That sounds cool, but it kind of feels like you need some visual aids to go with the auditory.
Did you see that?
Because he was a cool dude.
Yeah, it must have glitched because now we have the second one that's here.
That actually... Okay, once again, that actually happened to me when I played this years ago. There was like a glitch, and one of the construction worker ghosts was permanently stuck in the getting caught pose when there was no trap.
Yeah.
I've had some weird glitches happen to me playing some games. Like when I was playing Bully Scholarship Edition, I went into the Freak Show, and there was a mermaid there. And all of a sudden, the music locked and the screen locked, and I was scared to death because I was like, what's happening? Because I think it was also on Halloween in the game too.
Oh no!
And
Don't worry, pal. I'll get you in here in just a minute. There we go.
oh quit crying! There's candy in there.
Good work. That took some doing.
Congratulations, Ray.
No kidding. It took me having to restart the whole thing because.
We're on our way.
So I'm gonna have to try and figure out how to edit that.
Another scary glitch I stumbled across was I was playing The Sims 3. I had designed a guy. He was pre-made. He was wearing a suit. All of a sudden, my computer chugs like crazy. Blip blop. The texture for his skin is now the suit.
Oh God!
And so you had a suit with flesh, the indents for where his muscles were, his nipples, and even the inside of the suit was red.
Oh!
I wanted to save that, but the game crashed.
Oh!
It's kind of like when The Sims 3 first came out, and people were uploading their own content. Somebody had made, I guess, what could be described as a skin suit you could have your Sims wear. I actually didn't know that was on one of the characters I downloaded. So when I was showing my mom The Sims for the Create a Sim, I loaded up. All of a sudden, and make matters worse, it was a lady Sim pops up, and it looked like she wasn't wearing pants. I managed. I don't know. Luck was on my side that day.
You managed not to freak your mom out?
Yeah.
It's not alone. You've got him on the road.
Actually, the most recent glitch I ran into was playing GTA San Andreas. I'm old.
Yeah. Well,
I was playing it on Xbox 360, which means that you're not really playing the game. You're playing it on an emulator that they apparently never finished. That's why only a handful of games are compatible.
yeah.
And even then, they have problems.
Oh, I bet. Like, the whole thing about the backwards compatibility thing is like,
Eyes open, team. He's upping the ante.
when the PlayStation 4 first came out, it was already backwards compatible.
And then they locked it behind, you have to buy the game, so that way they could make money off of it. That's, I mean, literally, this is Digino Gaming, so I'm not sure how accurate this is. Nintendo had the option to make the SNES backwards compatible with the NES, but they didn't because it would cost more. when that would actually make the Super Nintendo, that would actually make people. They would actually make more people want it because they could play both games. And they almost did the same thing with the Nintendo 64 for this to be backwards to play the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time they did that was for the Wii to play GameCube games, and eventually they stopped.
Well, I mean, the Switch. I believe both the Switch and the Wii U actually use cartridges, not discs.
Oh.
Which is why that stopped. Because both the Wii U and the Nintendo Cube, or both the Nintendo Wii and the Nintendo Cube, both used CDs.
Whoa. Sorry, just kind of laughing at that. You could just kind of imagine the recording session. Okay, everybody, I need you to make a noise like you've just been hit by a proton stream, but it didn't kill you instantly.
I'm on your team.
Or you're being attacked by books.
Because I think the proton packs are basically supposed to be small proton accelerators.
They are.
I'm pretty sure it's basically designed to scatter atoms or molecules or something. I'm pretty sure that would hurt a human being.
Well, it's basically wearing a nuclear reactor on your backpack.
Surprising.
Which... Well, don't throw them at me then, lady.
Nicely done, cadet. Come on, kid.
Always make... It actually gets crazier. In the comics, they have proton grenades.
Which, again, you know, when I look at the designs comparative, like the proton packs for this and 2016, knowing what I know about...
In the periodical section. Checking the box scores on the
They're smaller and more compact.
No. They're designed in such a way that they shouldn't be. Because they're supposed to be a nuclear reactor, and they basically use what equates to chicken mesh as a shield.
Yeah, there should be tons of lead in there, right?
And when she found out what he was up to,
And
Or
that's
something to keep the radioactivity contained.
And don't forget they had proton pistols and gauntlets, which shouldn't actually be possible. I mean, this isn't Danny Phantom.
Yeah.
bingo.
I will say though, I think Melissa McCarthy did absolve herself because she was literally in a Super Bowl commercial where she got hurt, and she was pretty funny in the Happy Time murders.
Yeah. But the whole thing is like the whole wonton joke fell flat really quick.
I don't even
Like,
know
there
what a
wasn't
wonton
even-
is.
It's a kind of like a Chinese dumpling, but at the end of the day, I mean, like, none of the jokes were really funny.
Ow, my fingers.
You know,
I sat down with my hand open too long.
But it sure isn't a good one.
I didn't know you could drink from the water fountain.
yeah, you can.
Dang, that's like some Duke Nukem Forever stuff. Only better.
Something that's actually funny.
Yeah, I was a dumb teenager when I bought Duke Nukem Forever because I had heard about Duke Nukem for years but never played any of the games. Not a good first experience. Because that looks and feels like a polished PS2 game.
Well, it kind of is, because Duke Nukem Forever was supposed to come out years ago.
Kind of like Ghostbusters 3.
You hear
And
that?
it all comes back around. Continue.
But the studio that published Duke Nukem went
Somebody's in here.
dead or became bankrupt.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I'm out.
And then it just kept going to developer after
We're
developer.
not alone.
Well, nobody bought the rights to the game
I
for
gotta be more
years.
careful. You all right?
Kind of got to the point when they finally got the build, they were just like, let's just release this. It's kind of like when a company just buys up a bunch of... Kind of like when you have those companies on like Amazon who buy up old movie companies. And then they find out, oh, hey, look, we've got the rights to this now. That's how we got Creepshow 3, kids. Don't ever watch Creepshow 3, kids. It's awful. Aww. No, go back. Dancing
Tell us
Teddy.
something. What else did Hoover collect?
Aw, man. Dancing Teddy surrounded by what looks like blood.
That would be black ooze. Or what they call black cement.
Oh. Whoa.
It's supposed to be super negatively charged
Here's the
ectoplasm.
What Vigo had on steroids.
Yeah.
I've got to watch those again.
The original movies?
I watched the original like 2 years ago, but I got to watch it again. And I got to watch 2 again, too.
Oh boy.
They're throwing the whole science fiction section.
There's actually a Ghostbusters fan movie that's pretty good.
Their shields. Use the capture stream.
And the weirdest thing is it's got a cameo by the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Wrangle their shields!
Book Gladiators.
How you were saying
Pretty much.
Dad.
Beep, beep,
Valence
beep.
is up. She definitely left a trace somewhere.
You mean this slime that's right here?
Big spike. Right here.
Hey, whatever happened to that Friday the 13th game? Did that just kind of die down?
I think it did after a while. Just like Monster Hunter's Evolution.
Wasn't the Friday the 13th game basically just Dead by Dawn, but you could play as the monster?
Kind of. I don't know. I never really played it.
I just know about Dead by Dawn because at some point actual horror movie slashers are DLC for the game, including Freddy, which I'm guessing that means that particular campaign's all while everyone's sleeping because Freddy doesn't have any powers in the real world.
I could spend a month taking
Yep.
inventory of these books.
Well, he almost did in the crossover comic where he meets Ash from Evil Dead.
Wow. Dig that.
Yes, that's a thing, kids. I don't know why I keep saying kids. I don't know what your demographics are.
I don't know either.
I'm not entirely convinced.
It doesn't give me gender or age.
So, if you're an adult and you don't mind paying, God, maybe $50 for the book because it's out of print, it's awesome. And it's got a sequel that's awesome too.
Actually,
I read it on HTML Comics. May it rest in peace.
They've got friends.
HTML Comics was basically the world's largest pirated comic book site. Where people uploaded scans of comic books.
Conflict resolved.
yeah.
Having serious doubts about the structural integrity.
For there was a time when I was very poor. Well, I was young and I was a teenager and I didn't have a job, so I didn't have any money. Zippity zap zap. Is that a floating book? I forget how many levels this has.
I'm telling you, the substructure is unstable. The ceiling could come down on top of us.
Well, hello, animator.
What?
No, I saw the support columns buckle.
I know that because the Kickstarter for the Friday the 13th game was so successful, one guy actually tried to start a Kickstarter for a Child's Play game that was pretty much the same thing.
Not trouble.
Except for Chucky.
Yeah,
He's a chap here.
a guy, he can only really kill you if he gets the jump on you. Because if you get the jump on him, you can punt him across the room. And I gotta find out where this was. Somebody made one for Puppet Master.
Well done.
Talk about obscure. This one wasn't a Kickstarter. This was actually just a game a guy made because he was a real big fan of Puppet Master.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I guess somebody has to be
What? Quiet?
a fan. No, a fan of the Puppet Master series.
I mean, from what I've seen and heard, it's not too bad, but...
My big thing is the continuity. There's never really it doesn't really feel like there's a consistent story between movies. I like the designs of the puppets. As a stop-motion animator, I love the heavy use of stop-motion for the effects. But it's like Puppet Master 1 kind of leads into Puppet Master 2. Puppet Master 3, a prequel in World War II, even though they hinted at what the actual plot was going to be for the third one at the end of the second one. Then a random one where they just help a scientist. You know, it's kind of like, well, we got to make these, so just do whatever. I hope the mic is picking me up.
It should.
Otherwise, you just sound like a crazy person. I think that happened when I was in one of Lich's playthroughs.
Good place for the capture stream.
I've been using the capture stream.
What are you trying to do? Pull those out? Oh,
Yeah.
wait, maybe you gotta do them in an order.
Oh, finally you come out, you...
Don't help or anything, guys.
That would be actually helpful.
Well, I mean that is kind of mean. These guys look the same age, but they sound 20 years older.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened to Bill Murray. He just kind of suddenly magically aged.
I wonder if it's a good idea to be standing in a foot and a half of water.
Of course it is.
That didn't last long.
Of course.
Help is on the way.
Hey, look, it's talking.
And plus, it just kind of dawned on me. A Friday the 13th game where you play as Jason and kill people in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally just Naughty Bear, but with people.
Yeah.
It's on your left.
And honestly,
That was it.
it felt weirder. It felt weirder harming the teddy bears than it did the people. Should I see a psychiatrist?
Okay.
I don't know. It just felt like the teddy bears didn't do anything wrong. They just didn't like the main character.
Nice place. Nothing bad could ever happen.
And it wasn't like some happy tree friend stuff. They bled stuffing.
Got nowhere to run.
Now I sound insane.
I'm not clear on how flanking was supposed to work.
Golems on fire. Fuck men on fire. There is literally hot, hot, hot. Do not touch them. You're gonna die. At the same time, it kind of looks like in the break room somebody made a little monster out of Cheetos, and a guy said, "We got to put this in the game."
Wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
It's kind of like now I can't remember, but I know there's been cases like that where somebody designed one thing. It's like, hey, let's do that, or it's, hey, I got an idea for a movie. Hey, I got an idea. Let's use this. Hey, we'll use that. I can think of one, if you don't mind me telling.
Spangler, the kid found the exit.
For the third Nightmare on Elm Street movie, which had a ton of visual effects in it. There's a scene where a girl is walking through this old house, and there's like this rotted dinner, and in the middle is this giant cooked pig. That wasn't there before.
No, it wasn't. Hey, look, rainbow-colored wires.
But anyway, what happens in the scene, if you see it, the pig does basically goes woof. It barks at her and scares her. And it turns out they couldn't make a rubber pig to do that effect, so they just actually bought a cooked pig, cut a hole in the table. A guy stuck his hand in there and went woof. I guess that's not a good example of what I was talking about, but I don't.
Own private shortcut to hell. That's convenient.
But I know sometimes on a playback for these, the volume of the game is a little hard to hear. So I know better than to just let it be silent.
Yeah.
We'll get that fixed one day. I do like how they didn't try to make the rookie look like one of the actors considered for back when the movie was being made, and it's just some random guy.
Yep.
Though it would be pretty cool to see Chevy Chase right there.
That's your cue, killer. Go get him.
Or Jim Belushi. John Belushi. Actually, I like Jim too.
I love it.
What?
That's your cue, killer. Go get her.
Because I think that's a callback.
I think that's her body, too, in the chair.
Where?
Right there.
Oh, Jesus.
It makes perfect sense if her residual spirit energy is tied to the book. The Gozerian Codex, right? But now that we have it, her echo must have been released. She's gone. I think we helped her cross over.
And 3, 2, 1.
Hey, did you ever seen that picture of what looks like the Ecto-1 and the Mystery Machine at the same gas station?
Uh-huh.
And the guy's like, okay, what's going down that both of these people are here?
She just crossed right.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute, why does an old lady turn into a masculine-looking spirit?
Buddy, the podium! Soak him! Soak him!
Oh, don't make that joke. But put the slime on them. Slim them up.
I don't think that's what we're supposed to be doing at this point. Ow!
Ah,
I'm being killed by literature!
well, there is a screenplay that allegedly everybody who read it died.
Oh god.
Two of them, actually. The adaptation of the book Confederacy of Dunces and the adaptation of the book The Incomparable Atuck. John Belushi was reading the script and in consideration for the role of Atuck when he overdosed. Then John Candy was interested, and then he overdosed. Then Chris Farley, and then he overdosed. Phil Hartman was just in consideration for a supporting role, and his wife killed him and then herself because she was whacked out on drugs.
Oh, great.
Actually, you wanted the story to that. There's a comedian named Andy Dick who used to brag about. Basically, Phil Hartman's wife had a drug habit, and she got over it. And he basically said, "If you ever do it again, I'm leaving you." Andy Dick brags about how he got her to do some cocaine, and she was scared to death she was going to lose him, and she already had issues.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he brags about how he got Phil Hartman killed, basically, leading to my newfound respect for an actor by the name of John Lovitz, who owned a bar Andy Dick was at. Andy Dick was joking and bragging about it, and Lovitz laid him out. He straight up kicked his ass.
Yeah.
I already thought the man was a good actor, but now he's transcended.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, cool.
Something I've dreamt about since college. It's all in the monarchy of demonic. Fantastic. Ghost.
Wouldn't get too excited. I have a feeling she did it so we can meet an old friend of hers.
Well,
Should we go in the portal?
Not much choice, is there? It's the only way out.
Aw.
You take the lead. Don't worry, we do this all the time.
Yeah, you take the lead. But Mama said not to do open random ass portals in the middle of nowhere.
look out!
Hey, Doctor Strange does it all the time.
So this is what the public library looks like on the far side of a cross-dimensional port.
It's one of infinite potential configurations.
I think this may be one of the weirdest episodes I've been on.
Hmm.
Because I know on Lich's Neptunia, where I told the stories about the hotel, I forget there was another one.
Watch out, Jack Slime.
So far I've given movie trivia and talked about murder and killer screenplays.
Come on, let's go!
Whoa.
Keep your head down and keep hitting these portals. One of them's gotta lead out.
The scientific method, right?
Aperture science, we do what we must because we can.
The natives are restless.
Well, they're certainly aware of our presence.
I think it's kind of cool how from a distance the lamp looks like a brain in the jar.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah. Bye, Book Golem.
I've been on a 90s kick this past week and a half.
Hmm.
I watched,
Actually, honestly, I think this would probably be a good time to end the video.
Okay.
So, hopefully we'll see you next week. If you see this video uploaded, who knows?
And if it happens to be your birthday, happy birthday.
Well, actually, we're doing daily video vlogs now. We're going to try and do a midnight release live stream for Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, that's...
But if you have the deluxe version, of course, you already know that they have allowed deluxe and Croft version players to have early access.
How much is the deluxe?
The deluxe is like $89.
80. $90
Yeah.
for like to get to play a game a week early.
Not even a week. Try 2 days.
Still kind of sounds like a con job.
But anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.